Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Chairman Wafula Chebukati says the August 9th, 2022 general election was the most credible poll compared to previous exercises. While addressing a post-election stakeholders evaluation workshop with representatives of political parties in Nairobi, the outgoing IEBC boss said he has no regrets over his mandate in the August 9th presidential polls, despite the results being challenged at the Supreme Court by 4 commissioners at the time. Seth Olale followed the proceedings, which also proposed major reforms in IEBC and the office of the Registrar of Political Parties.
With 3 weeks remaining before Wafula Chebukati formally calls it a day as the IEBC boss, the chairman of the electoral body spent his final moments in official duty, presiding over a post-election stakeholders evaluation workshop with the representatives of the 82 registered political parties in Nairobi.
Good morning. My name is Miriam Wambui.
Chebukati using the occasion to appraise the August 9th general election, terming it as the most successful poll despite the presidential outcome being challenged at the Supreme Court by 4 commissioners at the time, including Juliana Cherera, Irene Masit, Julius Nangaya, and Francis Wanderi.
We want to build on those success stories and the team that will come after us. When they do come, we shall ensure that there are enough handover reports, including this PA report and what we have done the last 6 years, so that they can pick it up.
Despite receiving sharp criticism from Azimio leader Raila Odinga regarding how he handled the tallying, verification and subsequent announcement of the presidential election outcome, Chebukati says he has no regrets whatsoever over his role as the National Returning Officer for presidential polls.
I've served 6 years as a state officer, and I believe I've made my contribution. So I have no regrets. One must have thick skin, and I know you guys have been part of the journey when you write all sorts of things about us, but we normally just take it with a stride and move on.
The outgoing IEBC boss celebrating his 61st birthday by advocating for reforms in the electoral body that include powers to arrest and prosecute those who violate the election code of conduct.
The court gave us a judgment that said IEBC should enforce. The same court then comes and says don't enforce. So the rest we leave it to you now.
Chebukati urging political parties to conduct seamless primaries during a general election in order to reduce the influx of independent candidates as well as election petitions.
Party nomination rules and parties keeping to their rules so that members can be nominated in a structured manner.
The Registrar of Political Parties and the Ruto seeking an amendment advocating for formation of coalitions after the general election and not before.
Do we really need pre-election coalitions? Or do we want to do post-election coalition? Because the people who make pre-election coalition, if the game changes after election, they all want to move.
Ruto further advocating for new guidelines to regulate the consensus method of selecting candidates by political parties that opt not to use the voting system.
If we do not look for them and encourage them and give them psychosocial support, then we are going to lose the participation of women, the participation of youth, and the participation of persons with disability.
Wafula Chebukati's final official engagement as the IEBC chairman will be when presiding over the post-election evaluation report before his January retirement. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Nairobi.